Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Today is a kind of a unique video and probably one of my favorite videos to do. I've done a couple through my collecting, and this is going to be my most updated knives top in my collection that have the snappiest, fly out of the handle, get it done detents that bring me joy. That doesn't mean they're the most droppy. It's just these are the ones going from like 10 to 1 that I think right now, as of today, have the best detents. And when I say detent, I'm talking about the snap. Most of them are going to have great action too, but the Divo Mash 2.5, which is the most inexpensive on this list, and has the snappiest action, all three of my Divo Mash 2.5s and 2.0s, than any of my Divo knives. I don't know why that is, but the snappiest Divo number 10. Before I get into this list, I do want to say thank you to all the channel members. Thank you guys, gals, so much. Thank you for anybody who comes in to check out my knife and EDC content. I appreciate you. If you're so inclined and you really want to help me out and be updated when I release content, which is pretty much daily, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. It really would help me out. So this knife, I want to say it was around $125. This particular one's a Frankenstein. It's in 14C 28N. And it's got the copper or brass titanium handles. It's going to come in at number 10 as my current snappiest. And I go back to Lefty EDC. It's kind of ironic that this is the knife. It's certainly not the Growler V1. I'm just kidding, Lefty. But he was the Detent Diva, right? I don't know if he's faded from that now, but when we get to my number one knife, he's a direct influence in me grabbing that knife, and it's still my number one. So anyway, number 10, we've got the Divo Mash 2.5. Number 9, we've got a knife that I would have never taken a chance on had I not seen Jared Neves' overview and review of it. I've got a ton of faith in Jared, and his kind of likes, especially when it comes to action, are very similar to mine. And his whole thing was, as far as Wees go, we being the manufacturer, the OEM, he has never, and by the way, this is OEM'd by Kubi. This is OEM by Wehr. He has never seen a Wehr that had as snappy a detent. This has got a flipper tab. Whoops. I've got to get around on it. I'm not used to it because it's so low profile. And it's got a deployment hole. Jared said if he had one wish, it would be that that stop pin was a little bit bigger. And he said that kind of joking because this knife absolutely springs into action. You cannot fail it. The littlest thumb flick or middle finger flick. I don't think I can thumb flick it because it's a frame lock. Yeah, I can. And then you've got this low profile flipper tab. The Wehr Nefaris, again, a full size knife, 20 CV, super slicey, tall, thin, flat ground, Bowie style blade. As slicey as you would want, but also number 9 in my best detents currently in my collection. Which brings us to number 8. And guys, this is a knife that not a ton of people know about. It's a knife that I followed the actual maker on. It's the Wehr Allie-P, OEM'd by Riot. Wehr knives are a custom maker. The Allie is one of his more popular designs, probably his most popular design. I don't know that for a fact, but the Allie-P is his production model, and I was lucky enough to get in on this hollow ground beast of a little knife, thumb studs only, M390, titanium, which is just the way that I wanted it, that I'd hoped mine would be. Pretty much a drop shutty. You've got these really smooth thumb studs. Bang, they fly open. Reverse flick, cash money. But the point is the snap. So when I go to open this knife, no matter if I reverse finger flick it or if I thumb flick it, it has got snap. Great knife, great access to the lock bar. It is a Wehr kind of reinterpretation of a custom and a production model made out of it. I really like it. Smaller knife, a lot of fun. It's going to come in at number 1098, which brings us to number 7. And this one would be higher on the list if we were talking about favorite knives, but I'm talking about snappy detent. So my only criteria when I was going through my knives was to find the snappiest spring out of the handle when you deploy them. And this is only a thumb stud or hole and a reverse finger flick hole. But I can't fail this knife. It has got a very commanding feeling detent to where it springs out of the handle, locks up very well. Even if I slow flick it to try to fail it, it snaps into place. I think it's just a perfectly laid out detent ball. The geometry of the blade is perfect. It's not as snappy as some of the others, but it's definitely one of my top 10 snappy. And this guy is number 7, much higher on my favorite list, but number 7 on the snappiest detent list. And this is the SPK Lamia Gen 3 Friday the 13th drop. Distress Black, which brings us to number 6. The McNees Mac 2, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, this knife came on bearings. It was amazing on bearings. I'd heard from Steve Skiff that the thick washers had been really sought after for a lot of the McNees modders. So I ordered a set. And I'm here to tell you that as much as I love the bearings in this knife, it's running on phosphorus bronze washers. It is smooth, stable, absolutely beastly. No movement up or down or side by side. You've got these super thick phosphorus bronze washers. Snap for days. Even with phosphorus bronze washers, all I have to do is barely push to break that detent, and the knife's going to open no matter what. Deep hollow ground MagnaCut blade that's just surgically slicey. One of my favorite knives. I absolutely love this guy. This is the McNees Mac 2 3.5 inch in MagnaCut, and it is a snappy detent bitch. Moving on, we come to number 109876, number 5. And guys, all of these are thunder rockets. This is my Brian Brown Yeager M, not the Gen 3. This is the full frame lock. This is the EDC Specialties Special Edition with micarta. Had black hardware. Actually, this one didn't come with black hardware, but I got it sent out. And then I put the Zerk collar, the Zerk backspacer, and the Zerk clip on it to kind of make it mine. It is the flipperless version, so it doesn't have the flipper, but, and I'm not a good thumb flicker, but you cannot fail this knife. I'm just trying to barely push it out there. And then if you want to snap it into place, it is a snappy, sure of itself. When you deploy it, it knows it's going to lock up. Hollow ground, M390. One of my all-time favorites. Definitely in the top 10. Definitely top 10 detent. So much so it's number 5. Which brings us in the detent snappiness now. We come to number 4. I thought it would be higher, but none of these are failable, but I'm just going for snappiest. In terms of overall smoothness, There is none smoother than the Aries, in my opinion. It's still on bearings. It flies open just with the slightest flick or the slightest light switch, slightest push button. You cannot fail it, guys, and it is an absolute banger. I love this little knife. I wish they made a medium size that was right between this and the full-size Aries. I don't know why I say that, because this is actually perfect for my hand. About the size of a bug out. But coming in at a rocking number 4, we have the Koenig Mini Aries. Keep in mind, all I'm judging these on is the snap of the detent, how well they snap out. So these knives in front of this aren't better than the Aries, or vice versa. They're not better than it. So, number 3. This is the Renegade Provisions God of Mischief. And I don't know if you can see in that little hole that white powder. I think you can. That is fingernail dust, because this is a beast. It's a bolster lock front flipper. You know I hate front flippers, but I cannot fail this knife to save my life. I'm doing the very minimal to push it out. And it thunders open. I don't carry this knife nearly enough. It's ergonomically brilliant. It carries like an absolute dream. Hollow grind that's therapeutically slicey as you could ever want. And the God of Mischief is one that I absolutely love. And it's going to come in my current detent list at number 3. It is that good. Guys, we are at number 2. I'm going to keep this under 20 minutes, hopefully under 15. Yep, not number 1. This is my Kunwu Padre. It could be number 1, guys. This knife is perfection. I want to thank Kunwu for designing this knife. I want to thank the dude at Blade Binge, I don't remember his name, who bought 2 of them, opened the satin one first and fell in love with it. Listed this on Blade Binge right when I happened to be there after they were sold out. This is the Gen 1. And I bought this knife at about a $30 savings, and the plastic could not even come off of it. It's a front flipper that you can't fail. It's got a deployment hole where I can reach up into this fuller and barely push it out. Once it clears that detent, it absolutely fires. Guys, this is the Kunwu Padre. It's one of my favorite knives altogether. If I was stuck somewhere where I needed to just cut and whack on shit, this guy and a Van X full-size blade, hard to beat. But guys, it's number 2 in detent, which brings us to number 1. The GOAT, in my humble opinion. This is my GOAT, people. This knife, Grady, Lefty, I think Bearded Gear, early on were ranting and raving about this Liong Ma field duty. I didn't get the carbon fiber. I just got the black G10. Unibody construction where you've got that G10 milled out. Titanium frame lock. Perfect deployment hole. It is a flipper or reverse flicker only. I can thumb flick it, but I'm not very good at thumb flicking it because it's a frame lock. But reverse finger flick, my number 1 action. Probably my number 1 knife, again, as I've been carrying it. Because for me and my hand, this knife is perfection. I've got a Cuff 3.0. It's a little on the small size. I've got a field duty folder, the full size. It's a great bigger knife. This knife is L-Max. It's got an amazingly thin, slicey, pokey blade that works so well in so many different applications. Detailed clips, I mean, you name it. Just different. It's a great EDC knife. It is the Field Duty EDC by Liong. I wish these would come back into production. OEM by Riot. Probably one of the first really nice knives I bought. That at the time, I didn't think I could afford it. Guys, it's such a great knife. Many times I've thought about letting it go because there were times that I didn't carry it because I was carrying other stuff because I'm just buying too many knives at the time. But guys, this is a goat. This is my goat. This is a winner. I love it. I know there's mixed feelings about that knife, but for me, the Field Duty EDC is an absolute winner. Padre, can't say enough nice things about it. God of Mischief, God, it's amazing. Koenig Aries Mini, one of my all-time favorite knives, and a grail. Brian Brown Yeager M, flipperless, love it. McNees Mac 2, Alex Stein Grabber, SPK Lamia, Wehr Allie-P. We've got the Mash 2.5. And finally, too big to get in the group, we've got the Nefaris. Guys, those are my 10 most snappy detents in my collection. So, again, not the drop shuttiest, not my overall favorites, but in terms of snappy detents, there are no better in my collection. I hope you guys found this video entertaining, somehow informative, maybe learned something, maybe saw something you didn't know, maybe saw something you don't like. All I ask is please, do me a favor. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and choose debate, not hate. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate your continued support. Till we meet again,